Hey YouTube, Matt here, DHV coach. It's been a little while. We finished the 12-week program. Hopefully you're following that, or you're maybe even done with it already. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can always hit me up. And now I'm going to go ahead and start answering some questions that I see bouncing around the internet and some of the forums, some of the other places. And one of the things I just saw recently was somebody put up a post about how you pick up waitresses. And I thought, hey, that's my specialty. So I wanted to make a YouTube video on how to pick up waitresses. So this doesn't have to be a waitress, it can be a bartender, like the Red Bull girls or anything like that. Basically, the term for it in the pickup artist community is called hired guns. Now, a hired gun is basically a woman because she was hired pretty much because she was attractive and fun, right? So you've got like Hooters waitresses, even waitresses, not necessarily, or servers, not necessarily like at a place like Hooters or Bikinis or Tilted Kilt or whatever, but just servers are generally attractive people, and they're pretty fun to be around. So what I want to start with is you have to be in a fun group. Okay, you don't want to go there by yourself and just sit there at a table and let them walk up and be the sad, lonely guy who's just there for attention. What you want to do is you want to walk in with your fun group because you happen to be at this establishment for whatever reason, and you want to be having a good time. You want to be kind of the alpha male of the group, if you will, and you want to be dressed up to stand out, like we talked about in some of the other videos. Right? I mean, that stuff always applies. You always want to look sharp, and you always want to be the focal point of the group. So what you're going to do is as soon as you walk in, you're going to take control of the situation. Because the worst thing in the world is going with your buddies to go to Hooters or whatever, and then they sit you down and you get a server who's not that fun or not that cool or not that pretty, let's be honest. So you want to take control of the situation. So what you do is as soon as you walk in, and the hostess walks up to ask you, party of 4, party of 5, I want you to say, we're looking for the most fun girl here. We're trying to have a good time. Don't sit us with the person who's next in line. We want to sit with the most fun person here. Now, this is going to set you up for a reason. A, the hostess knows who's fun, and she's going to try and give you that person. And that's not necessarily who you're going for, but it could be. But you want to have somebody fun. You want to have somebody to drive the energy levels up. All right? And pickup and dating and all that stuff, you always want to be like high energy, just one step a bit above the person that you're talking to. And so whenever you get a high energy server, it's just going to drive your energy level up, and pretty soon your table is going to take over the restaurant. It's going to be really fun. So like I said, you want to take control of the situation as soon as possible. Now, another thing you can do is to kind of hedge your bets a little bit is you can go in when it's slow. All right, you don't want to go on a UFC fight night to Hooters because it's going to be packed to the walls and you're not going to have a chance to hit on anybody, and they're going to be getting hit on from every different direction, and you're not going to be able to stand up in the crowd. You're not going to get any time to bond, to get that connection going. You're not going to get any of that. I'll tell you at the end how to do that real quick, but you want to go when it's a little bit slower so you can have time where they can sit down at your table, you can talk to them, you can get them in a conversation, and you can figure out if they're a good match, if they're even worth your time, basically. Okay, so here's the steps, all right? So you're going to sit down at your table, she's going to walk up, and you're going to ignore her. Completely ignore her. Not completely ignore. She's asking you a question about what you want to order, but you're not going to look up from the menu. You're going to just sit there like this, right? And you're going to be like, oh, I'll have a Coors Light. And she's going to be like, okay. But you're going to ignore it. And everybody else on the table is going to be oohing and ahhing and fawning at her. I mean, they're not going to know what you're doing because you're playing it smooth. That's what she's used to. She's used to guys walking in there and be like, oh my God, you're so pretty. How about you bring me a pitcher of beer, please, lovely, blah, 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 blah. But you're above that. You don't do that crap. You don't do that crap for somebody you don't know. All right? So you go in there, you ignore them at first. And then this is the most important step in the process is you have to quickly break the physical touch barrier. All right? We talked about it before, the concept of Kino, of non-sexual physical touching. You want to touch handshake, like bro shake. You can do fist bumps. You can touch them on the elbow, touch them on the shoulder, whatever, to start it off. But you got to break that contact early, as soon as possible. You want to make some kind of physical contact. After that, what you're going to do is, as the conversation goes, naturally, she's going to come back to the table, back and forth. I want you to start finding out about her. Be like, hey, you seem pretty cool. Yeah, I have a question about this. I have a question about that. Okay? So you're going to try and get to know her a little bit. So basically, we're going to move into the comfort zone after the attraction stage. So you just have to own it. It's something else. After that, when you're finding out about her, you want to mirror her body language. We talked about that. You want to focus on the feet, the shoulders, and the eyes. So you want to, whatever she's doing, you want to be doing that too. You want to give her your full attention without you earning it with your shoulders. You can always sit like this and start off, and then come in. And like I said, just you want to be mirroring her, and you want to keep that physical touch going. You want to always do that. Whenever it comes time to close, because by now you'll be building up attraction, you'll be building up some momentum, and you'll be building up some some personal connection with her. So when it comes time to actually close, for the number close, you want to close away from the group. It's kind of weird to put a bunch of pressure on somebody in front of your table. You don't want to be like, oh, what's your number in front of all my friends, because she's going to feel weird, and then if you get turned down, you look like an idiot. But what you want to do is you want to find a quiet moment where she's walking around, or she's, you strategically walk on the way to the restroom and pass her, and then you just be like, hey, listen, I think you're really cool. I wish we had met this way with my friends, but let me get your number. I want to talk to you some more. When you get back to your table, obviously don't ever celebrate this kind of stuff. It makes you look cheap, childish, and it's not very cool. So just don't celebrate. Just go back, sit down. You can brag about it with your friends later when you get in the car. And finally, for American guys, leave a decent tip. Don't be a cheapskate here. Don't think that you're going to not tip her and somehow impress her. Also, don't give her like $100 bills on a $20 tab to try and impress her. Just give her a decent tip. Give her like 20-25%, the standard, and you're good. Now, a quick word on hired gun game. This is my favorite kind of game. I think it's in some ways the easiest because the girls have to interact with you, and in some ways it's the hardest because they're constantly getting hit on, and you have to stand out from the crowd so much. Your level of like where you can slip up in your game is non-existent. You got to be on the spot. You got to be flawless to do this. It's not very hard if you just follow these steps, but you got to be flawless. There's no time for messing up or anything. All right, and finally, I said at the beginning, I'm going to come back to it. If you do go on a really busy night, all right, so it's like jam-packed, you don't have the waitress you want because that stuff doesn't fly on a Saturday night when there's a fight on or a playoff game or whatever. You can't just be like, I want to sit with the fun person because they might have a 3-hour wait or they might have full tables. You got to just sit where you're seated pretty much, right? Okay, so you're going to find your target. Now, the good thing about these places is they kind of work together. So you can make friends with your waitress, your server, and have her bring over a friend, say something cool, say something witty, be like, oh, you're cute, and then bounce out. But what you can do is you can find that moment where you can talk to her for a second. Like I said, strategic walk to the bathroom, or you can like get up and celebrate and accidentally bump into her. You can do anything like that. And then all you got to do is just real quiet, real low, like in her ear, just, I think you're really pretty, I know you're really busy. Are you on Facebook? And then you get her Facebook. I've talked about Facebook closing in the past. I'm a big fan of it because you find out more information. You can do it a lot quicker, and it's just more casual, and it's not so like intrusive as getting your phone number. So if you got to do it quick like that, then just do that. Or you can say, I think you're cool. I want to come back and see you. When are you working when it's not so busy? And maybe she'll say, I'm working, Monday lunch shift. And then you can go in there then and talk to her all day. So that's it. How to pick up a waitress. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please try it. I love hired gun game. It's my favorite because the risk-reward ratio is through the roof because you are dating some very high-quality, very attractive women, and it's a good time, and it's fun all around. So until next week, guys, take it easy and have a nice time.